Why was the Soviet WW2 Eastern Front so brutal? Have you ever wondered why the Eastern Front of World War II was marked by such extreme violence and suffering? The conflict between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union was unlike any other in history. It was driven by a mix of ideological beliefs, racial hatred, and military strategies that made it particularly savage. First, let's talk about the mindset of the Nazis. They viewed the Soviet Union not just as an enemy but as a threat to their ideology. This war was framed as a fight for survival against what they called Judeo-Bolshevism. The Nazis aimed to completely destroy this perceived enemy, leading to horrific policies that targeted entire populations. Jews, communist officials, and Slavs faced extermination or forced labor. Special units like the Einsatzgruppen were responsible for mass killings, which created a cycle of violence that escalated the brutality of the conflict. Next, consider the sheer scale of the fighting. The Eastern Front was the largest military confrontation in history, involving millions of soldiers and civilians across vast territories. From the Arctic to the Caucasus, battles were characterized by massive troop movements and sieges. The German military often retaliated against partisan resistance with brutal reprisals, including mass executions of civilians. This only fueled more attacks from partisans, creating a vicious cycle of violence that made the fighting even more brutal. Both sides committed severe war crimes, adding to the horror. The Soviet Red Army, in many instances, treated Axis prisoners of war harshly, with very few surviving captivity. When Soviet forces liberated territories, they sometimes executed civilians accused of collaboration. This mutual cycle of revenge contributed to the overall brutality of the conflict. Moreover, the strategic goals of Nazi Germany intensified the harshness of the war. Adolf Hitler's plans for the occupied Soviet territories included domination and exploitation. This led to scorched earth tactics, mass deportations, and widespread terror against civilian populations. The ambition to secure Lebensraum, or living space, resulted in systematic destruction and immense suffering. In essence, the brutality of the Soviet Eastern Front stemmed from a combination of military conflict and a deeply rooted ideological war. The genocidal policies of the Nazis, the scale of combat, the cycle of partisan warfare, and the strategic goals of domination created a uniquely savage environment. This resulted in unimaginable human suffering and loss of life, making the Eastern Front one of the most brutal theaters of World War II.